All right. As Eric takes a refreshing sip, episode 6 begins.
That was the game.
uh,
Oh man.
episode
Sorry.
6, American Brain Rot. Um, here we are. Here we are again. We're going to do it again and again and again. How you feeling?
A little bit of sad, but I'm hanging in there. Yeah. And you're so sad for so many fucking reasons. You know what I mean? Like so many different types.
Yep.
But I'm hanging in there. Doing good. What about yourself? I keep getting my ass kicked in Elden Ring. Took a break from it. That's it. That's how I'm feeling.
Okay.
What about you?
I keep getting my ass kicked too, but I have not taken a break from it. I'm still getting my ass kicked and having a lot of fun doing it. So I'm like, I think. Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties. There we go. Is that for now? Yeah, I'm like over 70 hours in, and I don't plan on stopping. So it's a blast.
Son. All right.
Yeah, but other than that, once we're done here, I got to study for an exam tomorrow. Not looking forward to that at all.
Okay, big exam for the job.
For my job, yeah.
Oh man, you have to pay for it.
No, they pay for it. My job pays for it.
Oh shit! I hope you studied then, because that's on their ass, right?
What was that?
I said it's better. What if you fail? They're not gonna fucking get mad at you if you fail. Are they? It's like that's like extra pressure, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if anybody has failed in the past. You know what I mean? I would feel much more comfortable knowing if somebody has failed before, and I would feel way better. But I don't know. I don't know that.
All right, you find the content easy, sure, or at least understandable.
It's understandable. It's not easy though.
Damn.
It's
It's
a Mac OS certification. So pretty much certified technician for a Mac operating system. So it's a requirement for my position.
Damn.
Yeah. So.
Oh, well, good luck. I know you got it, man. You have glasses. You got the whole look of somebody who passes test, Denny. You've always had that look.
Yeah.
So
That's great that I at least have the look down.
So there's been a couple of updates on the war conflict in Ukraine, between Ukraine and Russia. Just recently, a Russian war hero denounced Russia's antics in Ukraine, which is like absolutely insane if you think about what repercussions that man might face, but also at the same time, what, like, all the Russian people who look at him and see a hero or idolize him in any way for his war efforts in his past or whatever achievements he's made. I mean, there's a huge split among the morale right now in Russia, in my opinion. It's kind of crazy. He's like the Rambo in Russia, real life Rambo.
Yeah.
So they say.
I hope there's people over there that maybe, people who are on the fence about the whole situation, or maybe, they're inspired now to see things his way. That'll be nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of sucks what you're seeing now in America. So, some states are passing laws that ban anything Russian. Like, if whatever Putin is deciding to do is has a reflection on any of the Russian people. I know obviously there's going to be some Russians that support the war, but not all of them support the war. We don't know how many ratio one over the other. We don't know that either. But the protests are definitely there. He's arrested thousands of people at this point for protesting the war, and I mean, he's even made it so that he passed 3 laws in Russia. This is why America is better than Russia, folks. Okay, 5 years if you publicly discredit the war, you get 5 years. These are new laws he just passed. 3 years if you support the sanctions publicly, and 15 years if you spread any information Russia deems misinformation. So I can only imagine any information that he doesn't like. It's gonna land your ass 15 years in fucking prison. But
It's crazy.
that's the difference between America and Russia. This is why we don't like Russia. You understand? And whenever you see a Republican politician praise Putin for his antics, just know that the Russian people don't even praise Putin. And if you are a patriot in America, you shouldn't be praising Putin whatsoever, especially after this war crime he's doing against Ukraine. So, and imperialism in that violent manner. So, I mean, that's just how I feel. What say you?
Yeah, I mean,
In,
yeah, they're obviously him and his regime is incredibly authoritarian. Ours is too, but not to that degree. That's a lot. We're gonna talk about later in the podcast our authoritarianism going on right now, specifically in Florida. But yeah, that's obviously that's insane. I hope that people who are speaking out don't actually face that time. That's a big hope. But sorry, I
that's all
keeps
good.
getting timed out. Yeah, I mean the people are. You have to be pretty brave to stand up to that kind of
Right.
authoritarianism, knowing the repercussions. So good luck to all of them.
Also, another news in Ukraine: Putin declares sanctions an act of war. So
I don't
he's
want to
not
cut you
liking the
off.
sanctions.
Bring your mic a tiny
Yeah,
bit closer.
sorry about that. So yeah, like I was saying, Russian has declared sanctions an act of war. Obviously, they're not liking the sanctions that we're deploying on them. It's weighing heavily on his shoulders. I'm sure he's getting pushback from other Russian rich oligarchs that live in the country that are maybe not losing some thousands of dollars or millions of dollars with this war effort. So I'm sure he's getting pressure from that side. Um,
I actually I do agree that sanctions are an act of war. I think they are an act of war
yeah.
because regardless of targeting the ultra wealthy, which obviously I don't give a shit about, it's still affecting the working class of Russia. You know what I mean? And it, you really have to think about what that means. You know, this means people, who can't afford basic things really can't afford these things now. And you're going to see a lot of people going bankrupt, a lot of people going homeless, and a lot of people losing their livelihood because of these sanctions. So sanctions anywhere, we've placed ridiculous sanctions in Venezuela and a lot of these other countries
Destroyed Venezuela.
that a lot of right wing individuals like to say, oh, socialism did this to Venezuela, or socialism did this to this other country, when in reality it's us intervening and placing these sanctions on these countries and crippling them. So I do believe that they are an act of war, but when it comes to Putin, he's not speaking for those people. He's speaking for himself, and he's speaking for his ultra wealthy, his oligarch friends. So they can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you have one of the biggest oil companies, Russian oil giant Lukoil. He calls a halt on Ukraine. So you got real powerful people again trying to stop Putin's efforts in Ukraine because it's hurting their own pockets, and they are definitely not with that. With that being said, Putin has increased attacks on Ukraine cities, and he has there are videos that are out of him, targeting civilian buildings. A lot of videos out. I'm sure I don't like to click on them, to be honest with you,
I mean, either.
because I already know what's happening. I understand, but I have seen videos out of just people running out of buildings that just exploded and stuff like that. Because of the war efforts, I mean, he's taken some casualties too, and he's willing to pay his shoulders, millions of dollars in rubles or rubies, however,
Rubles.
I believe it's rubles, yeah. and just to kind of keep morale going to fighting in his war. It's interesting that you talk about Venezuela because now the United States is trying to make a deal with Venezuela and Iran to distribute gas from those countries. And then all of a sudden, we are recognizing Venezuelan's president as the legitimate president, when as before we were trying to put out some puppet president. And
Yeah,
that is the reason why for the sanctions, which is what you were referring to earlier.
yeah, Juan
But now
Guaido.
that we need them, yes, Juan Guaido, exactly. Now that we need these guys for the gas, because we just sanctioned and cut off Russia, who gave us about 8% of gas overall, we cut that small percentage and we're trying to make it up in Venezuela. So now we need them. So maybe we can make a deal. They seem interested in making the deal if they haven't already. And last but not least, major credit card providers have now banned Russia from using their systems. But looky, who comes out of the motherfucking cookie?
China.
China! China! China came out of nowhere and said you can use our systems, no problem. And just a little bit of a more of an indication of the relationship China has with Russia. And I know a lot of people are, they like to throw conspiracies out that China might attack Taiwan, during all this. But I don't know, man. I think Russia is a certain type of psycho, and I don't think the leaders of China are at that level. I'm
Yeah,
sure they find it interesting to align themselves with Russia, at least financially, for whatever
yeah.
reason.
I don't think they're at that level yet. I think they can get to that level if they want, because at the end of the day, they're not allies with the United States. They don't want to be allies with the United States.
Right.
But the relationship between the U.S. and China is really important as well. There's a lot of goods and services and products that get exchanged between the two, specifically from China to the U.S. because we like to offload our jobs over there instead of creating them over here, which is not good.
Not good at all.
Yeah, and speaking of the oil, getting oil from Venezuela or wherever, this is a great opportunity to create jobs here when it comes to clean energy and stop relying
Yeah.
on oil and gas
Hmm.
and start relying on clean energy, electricity, electric cars. These are what could be American jobs where we can
Absolutely. Oh my God.
pioneer these things and create these things and sell them to the rest of the world, and lead the world in the clean energy business. But you know,
I mean, we have an opportunity to grab those patents and really, you know, get in front of the other countries when it comes to energy, so we can make even more money for the country, selling ideas or projects to other countries. I mean, think about how useful that would be here in America. And if war, other countries won't be able to just attack countries like neighboring countries next to them. We can just cripple them with the patents of clean energy, or don't have to deal with any oil bonded relationships that we may have with those countries that we can't take out because it'll hurt us, is what you're saying. So clean energy is just a way out of that, and I agree with you 100%.
yep,
With that being said, all of this information, in terms of the update for Ukraine, usually this is, I mean, this has came from more earlier in the week. We do record on Sundays, so a lot of this, tons of information could have already have came out. This is happening day by day, so keep
yeah,
that in mind
yeah.
when listening to this podcast.
There's a ton of info coming out from the war, and war information is tough to get a grasp of because during war there's a lot of misinformation that comes out because it's a constantly moving thing, and there's things that are constantly happening, whether it's the violence that's going on or a lot of the political behind the scenes stuff going on. There's always a lot to sift through and to break down and to fact check You know, unlike places like Fox News or Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder, who will just vomit any fucking talking point out there to own the libs.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much anything Trump says as well. With that being said, I did want to come across this story. I watched UFC this past Saturday. The fighter.
Before you get there,
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to touch because we're on the war and stuff. I wanted to show this video really quick. It's pretty short.
Oh,
This is Claire Daly. She's a member of the European Parliament, independent socialist. What she's touching on is something that I thought of a lot when the war happened, and Ukrainian refugees are being accepted almost with no questions asked, as long as they're white, into other countries. This is not the case for other refugees, and there are a ton of other refugees that are coming from countries that are being attacked by U.S.-backed militaries or weaponry, rather, like Yemen getting destroyed by Saudi Arabia using United States weapons, or like Palestine getting destroyed by Israel using United States weapons. So those refugees do not get treated like Ukrainian refugees at all. They get treated like they don't exist, like they're nothing, like they don't matter. So Claire Daly is going to put a little more emphasis on that. So let's take a look.
okay.
There's no doubt about it. We're living in times of catastrophic crisis where the lives of innocent civilians are sacrificed in the wars of their masters. Yes, in Ukraine, but not only. Since the last plenary, tens of thousands of Afghani citizens have been forced to flee in search of food and safety. 5 million children face famine, an agonising and painful death, a 500% increase in child marriages and children being sold just so they can survive, and not a mention of it. Not here, not anywhere. No wall-to-wall TV coverage, no emergency humanitarian response, no special plenaries, not even a mention in this plenary, no Afghani delegations and no statements. My God, they must be wondering, what makes their humanitarian crisis so unimportant? Is it the colour of their skin? Is it that they're not white? They're not European? That their problems come from a US gun or a US invasion? Is it that the decision to rob their country's wealth was taken by a despotic US president rather than a Russian one? Because, my God, all wars are evil and all victims deserve support, and until we get on that page, we have no credibility whatsoever.
Wow.
That was the truth. That was the truth.
And
Really powerful stuff, especially when she just straight up says, is it because that they're coming from U.S. guns and a U.S. president that we don't care about them? And the answer is yes. That's why, let alone the color of their skin, as she mentioned as well. So when I forgot where I first saw this, but it's really good stuff from Claire Daly. Yeah, I echo all of that. I mean, if we care about the refugees in Ukraine, we have to care about these other refugees in other countries. We have to. It's disgusting to completely ignore it and pretend like it's not happening just because it's at our hands. It's awful. Imperialism is awful wherever it takes place. War is awful wherever it takes place. And there's always innocent civilians, innocent lives being lost wherever it takes place. So we have to keep that in mind. And if we're going to have this type of energy for Ukrainian refugees, we have to have it for others as well. So
yeah,
support however you
definitely.
can. If you can donate. If you can just get the word out to others, just get the word out to others. Use your voice. It's really important because this is
And make it so that you understand that it's happening in Somalia, it's happening in Yemen, it's happened in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. and just understand that it's happening, because then when you understand and you educate yourself, whether it's through American Brain Rot or some kind of other news outlet that's most likely progressive, because I feel like nowadays progressive media online are the only ones that are talking about Somalia or Yemen.
Of course.
So what I'm saying is, when you understand that these situations are happening, then you understand who to vote for. You're right. You're not gonna fall for that corrupt politician that throws a lot of platitudes in their campaigns. No, you listen. You see. Start paying attention to the records of those that are already in office. Don't you think Bernie Sanders is not telling the truth? Look at his record. See what he's voting for. The proof is in the pudding. You know what I mean? And same thing goes with a corrupt politician that says one thing and votes in a whole other way. So it's stop having such a rotten fucking brain. You know what I mean? That's it. This is why we named them. I still think American Brain Rot is like one of the best fucking podcast names ever, bro. I love it. But yeah, that was an amazing video, Denny.
Yep.
I haven't felt like that in a while.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff from Claire Daly. I wish we had somebody like her here in the United States.
Oh yeah, man. Where she was from? She was from Scotland or something. Ireland.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, Dublin.
Dublin?
Yeah, Ireland.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep, socialist. So go support her. Go follow her. She's awesome. Okay, moving on. Take it away.
So yeah, man. So I wanted to touch base a little bit with this guy. He's a UFC MMA fighter. He just fought this past Saturday. He had a great matchup, featherweight bout with Edson Barboza, ranked 10 in the UFC. So very highly talented, well-known fighter in Edson Barboza. But Bryce Mitchell, undefeated, 15-0. He was 14-0 when he fought him. He beat him pretty badly, and that just goes to show how smart someone is when it comes to technique and fighting. I mean, you're not necessarily a complete idiot if you're in MMA, and if you're in an MMA sport. But this kid is 27. He's from Arkansas, and I know he's a good person. I'm kind of torn between him, Denny, because I like him, man. I'm not gonna lie, I do like him. He attempted to donate $45,000 to a children's charity. He got paid $90,000 that night, and he was gonna give half his purse to the charity. I mean, that just goes to show that he has a good heart. He really does. And I don't know anything about his real lifestyle, but according to some of his interviews, like, you can tell he's kind of a laid back guy when it comes to money. So $45,000 is a lot of money to just give away and not utilize it for your own life or your own family. With that being said, he recently had some controversy from what he said in the UFC press conference, and let's play that out and show you guys what we're talking about.
Is Bryce Mitchell's speech at the end of his post-fight press conference.
Let's do it.
Okay, thank you. Are y'all taking any?
Can you hear it? Okay.
Yeah,
Say
I'm hearing it
stuff
good.
right now, or does it go anywhere? Well, this is the only time that I have a platform to say something, and I've had something on my mind. It's affected me and a lot of people that I love, and I'm going to take a lot of criticism for saying what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say it anyways because I feel it needs to be said. I was driving by elementary school the other day, and I seen all these kids outside. They're trying to play on the playground. They're trying to run around. They're trying to swing on the monkey bars, go down a slide, and wrestle and play tag, and they all got masks on. And I see them out there, some of them taking their mask off so they can breathe fresh air. They get fresh air in their lungs when they take the mask off. And then you got a teacher walking around pointing at them saying, oh, put your mask on, put your mask on, put your mask on. And that makes me sick that these kids can't get fresh air, and they're 8 hours a day. They're sitting 6 feet apart from each other, and they can't breathe fresh air. I don't agree with that. And I
just pause that real quick, Denny. So, he already rubbed me off the wrong way as he's talking about teacher and how she's telling him to how she's telling the kids to put their mask on. Like, I don't know, man. In his voice as he describes that teacher, you can obviously tell that he's in my opinion, it seems like he's mad at the teacher. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then right after he follows what I think that's disgusting. What's apparently disgusting about it, bro? Risking getting sick from this virus and having your hands all around each other at this time in America. I mean, isn't that disgusting? I mean, at this point, like you can literally die from this virus. Yes, kids are less at risk, but I just already didn't like the way he's depicting the teacher in that reference. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not only that, like you also have to think this teacher is responsible for these children. You know what I mean? Right. And if something happens to them, that teacher is probably fucked. You know, if not by the school, then by their parents. So right. that's not even taken into account by this guy at all.
Right, and you're absolutely right. And think about like you have a whole bunch of fans that follow you now. You use your platform, and you're already depicting the teacher as a bad person. Like anybody listening to you that don't understand right from wrong as best as you. Which, by the way, I don't think you have a better opinion of what's right or wrong better than me. Just so you know, Bryce Mitchell, based on what you're saying here. But yeah, man, it's you got to be careful with what you say because you can be putting teachers at risk with that type of talk, in my opinion. But well, go ahead, we can go on.
I think you need to have a little bit of backbone because we did not vote for none of that. There was no vote that said we want our kids in masks, we want to wear masks, we want our businesses shut down, we want our restaurants at half capacity, we want our gyms at half capacity. And I just don't know who he thinks he is telling us that we have to shut down our businesses or shut our businesses to half capacity without a vote. There was no vote. And if he likes shutting down people's businesses and he likes telling people what to do, he can go to California because they'll love him over there.
All right, that's just pause. Again, he's talking about businesses being shut down. Yo, bro, what businesses are being shut down? You know what I'm saying? You have to wear a mask, but that doesn't stop you from walking into a business and eating.
Yeah,
I don't think. I think he's living in the past, like when the virus first came out.
That's what I was going to say.
And businesses, oh yeah, I mean he's living with these talking points that people have been saying like already 1 year and a half ago, or whenever the shit started 2 years ago. Yeah. So he needs to understand that he's not in the same time zone. That's it. That's all I'm saying. I mean, he's talking about kids not being able to breathe. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sometimes I'm in a rush and I have a mask on and I'm walking and, bro, I have to take the fucking mask off, bro. I'm out of breath. You know what I mean? But nobody likes fucking mask. You act like we're fucking advocating for masks because it just makes us feel better. It doesn't. It's uncomfortable. You know what I mean? We want to get out of this mask living way of life. We hate that shit. I mean, I do. So we just have different takes on how to best deal with it. You don't want to deal with it at all, and we want to deal with it as best as possible by limiting the spread of the virus by wearing masks, which has already been scientifically proven to work. So that's what bothers me.
It's typical right wing rhetoric. Their best way to deal with a situation is to not deal with it at all because freedom. That's it. That's literally it.
And liberties. Freedom and liberties.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. There's, obviously the virus isn't what it is today as what it was, a couple of years ago or even a year ago. But still, a deadly virus going through the country or the world. How to deal with it? What do you want to do? How do you want to deal with it?
Yeah, how do you want to deal with it? Exactly.
What do you
Natural immunity. Yeah. Natural immunity. Yeah. Herd immunity. That doesn't work, you fucking asshole. There's mad people gonna die doing it like that, bro. You know what I mean?
Mad people did die.
And you know what? Let me tell you something. He's mad. He's talking. He's saying, "I'm mad because you didn't give us a vote." You heard when he said that? You didn't give us a vote. We didn't get to vote on it. You don't get to vote on it, asshole. The science is on our side. Okay? The virus is bad. You need to wear a mask. Okay? You want to vote to increase the chances of people dying because you're inconvenient. You don't want to wear a mask. You don't want to be inconvenienced for a short period of time in order to prevent a long period problem. You can't handle that. You can't put it on a mask. You can't handle putting it on. You can get punched in the fucking face. Look at his fucking face. You get punched in the face. He can't wear a mask. It's bothering him. You know, it's ridiculous, bro. You're supposed to have concern for your fellow American, okay? You think I want to wear a mask? I go in sometimes. I say I'm not breathing good. I go into a store. I see a fucking old lady. She has a mask. I put my mask on, guy. It's for her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, all right, you can keep going. I mean, yo, at the end of this is hilarious. By the way, you'll see.
Okay.
You'll
Hell,
see.
hell hath no fury like a white American being mildly inconvenienced.
in people's business over there, and we don't want to live like that. And I'm just asking to get our freedoms back, and I don't think that's much to ask for. What I'm saying is make the mask optional in Arkansas for people who own restaurants and people who own businesses. Make it optional. Why tell somebody they have to wear a mask? What if they don't want to, or what if it affects their breathing negatively and gives them headaches? You know? And here's another theory I got. If your mask works so well, why are you worried about if I'm wearing one? Don't you got one on? Why does it matter? If they work so good, why are you worried if I got one? You wear one and you worry about you. Okay? And if you think you're going sick, stay home.
You know, Denny, he doesn't get the science, dogs. He doesn't get the science.
None of them.
Bro, I mean, listen. If you get the vaccine, the virus lives less time in your body because the vaccine's kicking its fucking ass. That's the job of the vaccine. Okay? The longer that the virus is in your body, the more of a chance you get to spread other people. That's one. More of a chance your body may fail with it being inside of you. In my, that's just logical to me. And three, there's more of a chance that the virus can mutate into a different strain in your body. Now, my trillions of bacterias are completely different than Denny's and yours. We all three have different bacterias completely. So you having COVID could be good. It'll pass through your body, nothing. Same with me, but with Denny, he may create a whole new strain that comes out, and now it's stronger and spreads, even faster, or could possibly be even more deadlier. I mean, Omicron wasn't as deadly as the other strains before it, but it was more contagious, which is why you had that huge increase in cases of COVID recently. I know I dodged it almost the whole time, and I finally got it. I was pissed, but I had the vaccine, so I had no symptoms at all. So I was lucky enough to get it when I already had the vaccine. So this guy doesn't understand that, and what he's putting out is misinformation in terms of someone can listen to him and believe what he's doing and not believe the scientists that already discredit this guy, what he's saying. It's just a shame because he's getting his information somewhere else. He should be watching American Brain Rot, and he's not. He's probably watching Ben Shapiro, Tucker Carlson, and I don't even know it could be literally anybody he's listening to, but you can tell his passion is misguided. And that's what bothers me about this particular really well-gifted individual.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Well, with that being said,
You want to continue this?
no, I did want to say another thing. You got countries like South Korea. I think I sent you that stat. South Korea has very, very strict COVID vaccine mandates, and look at their mortality rate compared to other countries. I mean, it's like night and day. You understand? 0.2%.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's working. I mean, there's even a report from South Korea saying that they may attempt to go back to normalcy by the end of March of this year. I mean, that's exactly what Bryce Mitchell wants. That's what I want. We all want this. You understand? Right. And all we gotta do is kind of suffer it a lot, like South Korea did, and we could have already achieved normalcy. No mask. You know what I mean? If everybody just got the vaccines, but unfortunately, the media has publicized the COVID vaccines, and if you're a Republican, you usually lean more towards not getting the vaccination. Not all Republicans, but usually the ones who are unvaccinated are either independents or Republicans. with Republicans being more on that. So it's just a shame, in my opinion. That's all. That's all I want to say.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, where South Korea is at is where we all want to get to, like you said. So,
Yeah.
it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to even talk about because I mean, for people to not get it, for people to not be able to wrap their mind around what needs to be done to to get this shit over with already is crazy. And they're just gonna complain, and it's just gonna stick around because they don't want to fucking do what they have to do so that it goes away. And
Well,
it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to think about and to hear these people say the shit that he's saying, and to even hear people that I know, like my fucking dad, say stupid ass shit similar to this too. You know what I mean? It's very, yeah, it's very frustrating because obviously you don't want to see people close to you get hurt or worse, but at the same time, if you're trying to help them and they don't want to listen, what do you do? You know what I mean? What do you do other than kind of prepare for the worst? You know what I mean? So
yeah, no, I hate you.
yeah, it's ridiculous, but it's. I guess the whole purpose of this podcast even existing, not necessarily COVID, but
Yeah,
the way
that's
that,
why I like
the way
stories.
that people
That's
think.
why I like stories like this.
Yeah,
Because this is exactly what the podcast is about to me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? American brain rot. Snap the fuck out of it, bro. I mean, just snap out of it, man. You don't know what you're talking about. And tell me who you are getting the information from. Tell me so I can disprove them.
yeah,
Harshly.
But we know,
And
where they're getting the info from. You said it. You already said it. Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro. These people are highly influential. They have tons of views, and most Americans, once they see something on the internet, especially when they see somebody speaking on the internet, they don't think twice. They're just like, oh, okay, that person must be right because they're on the internet and I'm not. So they're right. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of people think.
don't take what you hear as like the rule of law in politics right off the bat. If you agree with right wing theories, that's fine. Keep researching them because you may find something that proves them their side wrong. And once you find one thing that's wrong, you're gonna see that you're gonna understand that there's a whole bunch of other lies they're telling you,
Yeah.
and then you can start making the decision in that turnaround of what information is valid and what information is not. But
Even take what we
just
say
keep
with
on, man.
take what we say.
That's what I was gonna say.
With skepticism. You know what I mean? We're not experts. We're not geniuses. We're regular guys, regular Americans who just enjoy talking about the stuff and staying up to date and wanting to help people. But
I mean, we're gonna put the links down. We're gonna show you where we're
I'll
getting
put
the
this-
information from. You know what I mean? And if you look at the information yourself, and then maybe research the information that we got the information from. You know what I mean? Like research that. Like do the work though. Don't be lazy. Don't listen to us, and if you don't agree with us, go. You guys are fucking
right.
progressive fucks. Get out of here. Beta. You beta man.
Beta.
Oh, I'm not a fucking beta. I'm an alpha. Anyway, moving on. There was another story I wanted to show you. This is here in New York. This is why it kind of bothers me. A man named Frank Abrakwa was arrested recently, and he was arrested for attacking a woman on a subway train with his feces being rubbed all over her face, and basically that crime was not deemed violent enough to be a felony. So because of that, it was deemed a misdemeanor, and because it was a misdemeanor, he was able to be let go until his court case. So you got somebody who takes his shit, forcefully, violently rubs it on a woman's face because she didn't want to talk to him, and he gets to walk free. And this is sickening to me. I hate that fact that this can happen, and I think that the case of him doing that should definitely be a felony, and she should never have walked out of jail. And it turns out that this individual has actually been arrested 44 times in total, with only one of those times being a felony. So you can only imagine how many misdemeanors he's had and has been let go or hasn't showed up to court for. With that being said, here's the story right here.
Attorney Grace Phillips, this is in New York, recounted how Frank Abrokwa initially harassed the victim, the woman, saying, hey mommy, why don't you talk to me? When she ignored him, he walked into an idling subway car and pooped into a bag, then returned to smear the excrement on her face, head, nose, mouth, and eyes. And then he said to her, you like this bitch? And this story infuriated me like you wouldn't believe, because of the fact that I see this as a violent crime. I see him as a dangerous person, and he somehow gets let go because of the bail reform policies that have been implemented in New York, and California has similar policies. And we'll get into what the flaws are in just a moment, because I think that bail reform is something that was, people who pursued that did so with the best of intentions. But the problem is how crimes are classified, why some crimes are misdemeanors while others are considered felonies. That's the real issue that at hand, and we'll talk.
Yeah, so basically, so I sent you a link of what actually is deemed a misdemeanor. There's two types of misdemeanors. There's misdemeanor Class A and misdemeanors Class B here in New York. A is going to be the more serious misdemeanors. B, of course, you got stalking, intentional harassment, public lewdness when you show your balls or your boobs, and then setting off fireworks without a permit, first degree loitering for the purpose of using illegal drugs. Loitering. I can't say that word. Loitering. All right. So Class A misdemeanors is going to be the more obviously serious ones. So you got theft with of no more than 1,000, accessing a computer or computer network without authorization, recklessly injuring someone. So recklessly injuring someone. So I mean, I can only imagine maybe you got into a fight and you guys punched each other equally, I guess. Forcefully touching someone sexually and writing graffiti without the property owner's permission. So what he did was he smeared shit on a woman's face, and you could only imagine how he was doing that. Obviously touching her face and all that. So that, I guess, is going under recklessly injuring someone or forcefully touching someone, I guess, in some way, if they were to try to make it a misdemeanor, which is what they did. So in my opinion, it should be a felony, and that motherfucker should have never been able to walk out of jail.
Yeah, I agree. That's assault. That's straight up assault. This is pure speculation, obviously, but the first thing I thought of with this is the police in this country now, with all this culture war bullshit going on, the police in this country feel like they're under attack because of defund the police and all this other shit, and they feel like people need us, we're important, blah blah blah, and police departments like the NYPD or even like the LAPD try to make that even more clear, especially when we have somebody like Eric Adams, who's now running the show. And with a lot of their reporting of an uptick in crime and an uptick in, robbery and stabbings and blah, 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 you have to wonder if it's their own fault that this uptick is even happening, because the police have not even been defunded. Not in New York, that's for sure. Their budget went up this year. So, to me, letting somebody out like this over and over again, who's been arrested, I don't know, 40 something times, you said,
Yeah, 44. Yeah.
It seems like that's something that they want. You know what I mean? They need their reasons justified for doing what they do and doing what they want to do and increasing the police budget and talking about how much crime there is. They need to justify that. And in order to justify that, you take somebody like this and let him go and let him do it again and do it again. Because the more times that happens, the more times the police get to say, there's more crime going on. This happened.
Right.
This person assaulted this person. There's a lot of crime going on. You need us. You need us. You can't defund us. You need us. Look at this. Look what's happening. Meanwhile, they're the ones who continue. The police department and our judicial system in New York are the ones who let people like this
Kind of recycling the crime,
Right.
recycling the
They
crime,
let these
pretty
people
much.
free
Like,
again and again and
horrible.
again, so that they can, you know what I mean, continue to justify the overwhelming existence or presence of the NYPD. So yeah, that's what came to my
Denny,
mind.
play the fucking video of this guy. I think it's 1 minute 57 seconds. Play the video of him actually doing the attack, and understand that as you're watching this, understand that he's also been in cases where he sucker punched a man in Port Authority, just straight up punched someone. He's threatened an owner of a store with the screwdriver product in the Bronx, and he's done multiple face punches to a victim on a train subway platform. This is the guy that continuously gets in and out of jail. You know what I mean? And actually, after when he did get arrested for the feces incident, he did attack a Jewish man, spat on his face, and chased him down the street screaming, "I will fucking kill you." And I mean, that's why your perspective on it was so scary, because if the police are just letting this guy go, I mean, for the reasons like that, I mean, think about how dangerous that is, that this guy's back on the streets. We should show his face. I want to show him getting arrested. And then also we have video of him doing the actual crime.
Did you send me the video of him doing it? I don't know. I don't think I have it.
I know this is the here, I got you.
We can take a look at this real quick.
Yeah.
Mr. Brokaw, what happened, sir? What happened? Anything you want to say? What happened with this woman in the subway? Anything you want to say, sir?
Mr. Brokaw, do you have anything to say? Mr. Brokaw, anything to say to the victim?
I will say, it does suck that this has to be a black guy, especially now, with everything going on in the country. But regardless of who it is, it's still pretty awful.
Yeah, for me, I don't give a fuck that he's a black guy. If you take, because obviously a white bum could do this too. I mean, the bums, listen, it's unfortunate, but sometimes they're not all there, man. You know what I mean? And if you're in New York, you understand that. And so anybody from any race could have done the crime, but I'm sure this happened before in the past. I'm sure they've done that in the past. You know what I mean? And so for me, it's just absolutely insane that this guy's out there. I did want to put it, the video also. I think I sent it to you on the Discord.
Is it the same?
So it says man freed after shocking crime. Yeah, it's the same one. And then go to 157 and you'll see him actually doing the attack.
Sorry, give me a second here.
It's okay.
And then we'll talk about it. So there he is. You can see him clearly victimizing this woman as she's minding her business, waiting for a train. It's just absolutely disgusting. Okay. So it turns out that after they let him go with no bail, he had to return to court because they arrested him for a hate crime for basically going after a Jewish man in September of 2021. He was hauled before a judge for the second time in days. This time on charges, he spat on a Jewish man and chased him down a Brooklyn street screaming, "Come here, you effing Jew. I'm going to kill you," according to a criminal complaint. That alleged hate crime happened September 9th in Crown Heights. Now, the victim in this case spoke to the press, the New York Daily News, Menachem Minkowitz, and he said this: "He singled me out because he noticed I'm Jewish. It's not even like I said something to him. I was minding my business and looking at my phone. Everything happened so quick. A person comes up and spits on me. I said, 'What the F is wrong with you?' And he said, 'Effing Jew.' I got spit on for being a Jew. Just because I'm wearing a yarmulke, I should be treated like this?" And by the way, when the perpetrator here showed up to court for the second time in days, he was annoyed. He was very irritable that he had to do that. He told the judge, "I'm effing tired of it. I'm hungry. Why am I still here? They want to charge me with a hate crime."
I mean, he's obviously not all there.
This guy's been arrested 44 times for, in my opinion, violent offenses.
I mean, it's just absolutely insane that this guy is being let out. I mean, they definitely got to do some criminal reform, criminal bail, cash form. They got to do some shit, because obviously what he has done is deemed a felony, and you can't have people of this violent nature back out in the streets. I mean, that guy attacked a woman. You know what I mean? He's attacked a woman. He's attacked men. He doesn't. What's to stop him from attacking a kid? You know what I mean? Or anybody. It don't matter, man. You can fucking kick a dog. My point is, he shouldn't be out there to do that. That's my point. So
yeah,
I think at the end of the day, it's important to choose, legislators that are going to seriously work on some criminal reform, and it all goes down to knowing who you're voting for. I did want to talk about something else, Denny.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I've been looking at my Instagram a lot. There is a man by the name of Sean King. If you want to bring up his Instagram page, this guy, I just get regular updates on some of the things that he's doing. He's a writer, a civil rights activist, and he's a co-founder of Real Justice PAC, which is a political action committee to help elect prosecutors who support criminal justice reform at the county and city levels. So what that means is, he wants to elect people and endorse people who are going to actually change laws and have a good mindset and have good intentions. Don't take corporate PAC money. They're not corrupt. Those are the kind of district attorneys that organization has been created for. So with that being said, you go to his website. I mean, you go to his Instagram. He does a lot of civil rights activist work, and I love when he has stories out like this, because it really reminds you just how fucked up America is right now. You see, he put two stories next to each other. One, Pamela Moses sentenced to 6 years in prison for illegally registering to vote. And then on the left, he has judge allows former deputy accused of raping 14-year-old girl to avoid prison and sex offender status. He doesn't have to register as a sex offender. That is disgusting. If this guy was proven to do that, he should be in jail, and he should be registered as a sex offender when he gets out of jail, which I hope is not anytime soon. With that being said, what makes this such a crazy story, if it wasn't crazy enough, is the district attorney being the same person, Amy Weinrich of Shelby County, Tennessee. She oversaw both cases, and she's exactly the type of corruption that he is fighting against. And so this is a good example of just how fucked up the political system is. This is not just in Tennessee. This is in a whole bunch of states that all, elect and endorse corrupt politicians, whether it's the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. They endorse corrupt district attorneys that are running for that position, and this is the result of what you get from some bullshit like that. And it pisses me off, man.
Yeah, this is another case of a tale of two Americas. completely different outcomes for two completely different things for two different people, one black, one white, of course.
One female, one male.
Yeah. This is our system working the way it's supposed to work. This is the way it's intended to work.
And she's a political figure. She ran for something. I think it says something like that under the description. If you look at it, I don't know if you can see it. It says then mayoral candidate Pamela Moses. So she ran. She tried to run for mayor, and they hit her with that. And you could just you could just tell like it was probably politically motivated to bring her out, to bring her down for 6 years. I'm sure her politics are, just as good as mine, and I don't know nothing about it. It's just the fact that they did that shit to her. If it wasn't, they would have not did that to her.
I mean, I think this is racially motivated more than anything.
Hell
it
yeah,
could be politically motivated to an extent, but this is absolutely racially motivated to give her 6 years for illegally registering to vote, which is, I mean, come on, let's be real. I mean, this is our country's white supremacy at work. Doing exactly what it's meant to do, by not sending this guy to prison, raping a 14-year-old girl. He even gets to avoid sex offender status, as if not going to prison wasn't enough. That's
right.
That's
oh
absurd.
My God!
It's
all because he's a cop, bro.
A white cop. All because he's a white cop. That's If this was a black cop, I'm pretty sure he'd be in prison right now. I'm almost positive.
Right. So scroll up, Denny, on Sean King's Instagram, and I just got one more thing of what I learned when I was on his page. So I guess go up. All right, go down. Okay, so go down, my friend. And I saw this video first on his right there. It's in the middle.
Oh, this
is
Ryan Coogler.
Yes. Ryan Coogler. This guy was recently approached at a bank. He was trying to withdraw money, something he's done previously at that bank. He's done it many times. But when they approached him, they came with guns out. And that is a very scary situation if you are a black man in America. The teller thought that he was suspicious and that he might have been robbing the bank, which is already dangerous. I mean, this man could have been shot up, and he has a huge lawsuit in his hands, in my opinion, which I'm sure he's. I sent you the video, by the way, and the video is kind of heartbreaking because you can see how scared he is, and you can see some of the things he was saying to them, and they even go as far because he's like, listen, they let him go, but he goes, listen, you gotta. First, he had a plea to take off his fucking handcuffs. They took it off fast, but not fast enough, in my opinion.
Right.
But also, he was like, I got to get your names. They didn't want to give him any paper so they could write their names down because they know they fucked up bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, this guy, he's wealthy. He's quite wealthy. He's a director, Ryan Coogler. He directed Black Panther. He's directing Black Panther 2. And he's directed a bunch of other movies that unfortunately I don't know of, but he's a very successful individual. He's employed by Disney to make their movies. You know what I mean? He should not ever be in this position ever. This is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Scully with the hoodie and the glasses just scares the shit out of the teller
and the black skin.
Right, but I think the teller herself was black. It's just. What's crazy is the fact that she got scared. I mean, he did write a note because he doesn't want. He'll explain it when he gets arrested why he did what he did. But as I stated before, his.
Can you just tell me what's going on?
Yeah, bro.
Look at this.
It's a medical assistant that works in my house that prefers to be paid in cash. Every time I make a withdrawal to pay her, because it's a large amount, she works a lot.
Yeah.
If I don't write down on a note how much I went out, and then I don't when it ran through the money counter right there at the desk, the whole bank ends up looking at me. because they just hearing money going through the account, and I don't feel safe. I don't feel safe getting money out like that. So every time I go to withdraw it, you know, I put the amount, the account I want to take it out of, and I put my own card in, and then they usually take. I mean, like always, just get the money from me. You know what I'm saying? At the bank, she never said it was a problem, bro. Yeah. I said, hey, is that gonna be okay with you? She said, yeah. I put my own card in, put my own pin in. She asked to see my ID. I gave it to her. Yeah. And she goes in the back, and I'm waiting for the
guy in the
people
background.
coming out. Hey, they taking care of you. They taking care of you. Everything's, it's taking a little while. Next thing I hear Glocks. Yeah. I hear Glocks getting pulled out. That's what I hear. I hear Glocks getting pulled out from unholstering. Hey, sir, can I talk to you for a minute? Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So you see my perspective.
Yeah. So.
Okay. You must have been hella scared,
Denny. Weapons, that's why you're detained, and then we ask questions later because of the nature of the call. So,
Say it again, sir.
It's nothing for me to say, man. Like I gotta get all y'all names.
Yeah,
that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. That's no problem.
Watch this.
Y'all got cards?
No, we don't have cards, but we'll. If you got something to write on, do you have anything?
If you got something to write on,
no,
y'all can give me something to write down on.
you take your little fucking notebook out, man. You know what I'm saying? You got something to write on.
I'm not reaching in there, bro. Like y'all just came in. Brian had guns drawn on me in a while, bro. You understand what I'm saying?
So I said,
This is the teller explaining what he did.
Which account? And he said, he just kept pointing. He's like, look at the note. So I'm like, okay. And so I said, do you have your ID? He did give me his ID. It was a California ID. But my stomach started turning. Like, I'm like, okay, it just seems odd because you're making a withdrawal, but you hand me a note on the back of a deposit slip. And you keep telling me, look at the note, but you don't want to talk to me. So I'm like already like, okay, like, you're just acting really kind of, it's just weird. So then he gave me his ID as a California ID, but I'm still like kind of a bit shook up, so I didn't look at his first and last name. Then on my computer it says a high risk transaction, so a red box came up. So I'm like, okay. I said, give me one moment. I just have to get my manager.
I do apologize sincerely for myself being who you are. You're a young black man, but two, for Bank of America. I can't explain how that happened. She's with child and she's emotionally high. She's going through her own thing and it has nothing to do with you. And I think it just hit her differently. And I do apologize because she wasn't seasoned. And when I walked in, it was already in motion.
So that's the Citibank trying to cover their ass. That manager could easily be fired for something that bitch did. She could lose her job because of of her misconceptions of him. So it's just a bad situation overall.
It seems like the teller she just got super nervous.
But that's the crazy thing because he could have died.
Yeah, of course.
Easily in that bank. Of course.
And that's wild. That's really wild. I think, I don't know what it's like to be in her position, you know what I mean? But I think that's something that needs to go through her head before doing this, is that this is a black guy and I'm going to call the cops on a black guy. And at that point, anything can happen. Literally anything can happen at that point, and maybe.
But there's supposed to be a manager on site at all times. So even though the teller got scared, the manager is probably the one who called the police. Not the teller. You know what I mean?
I think the teller did. Because they have a device. They have a device. If the bank is getting robbed, they can hit it and the cops get called.
Right. So she just hit that secret little button.
Yeah.
And that's why the cops are like, oh, that's the button that means that the bank's getting robbed. So that's why. She's saying it without saying it, just pressing the button. Okay.
Yeah. As far as I know, they do have security implementations for
where you be seeing that in the movies. I be seeing that. I know what you're talking
about. That's why I'm glad he's okay. I mean,
But anyway, I only learned about the story because of Sean King, and then when I did my more research, I started seeing the actual videos, and it just goes to show like That's why I listen to Sean King, because he reminds America of what could happen, just being black in America. I mean, that shit must have been. You can tell his heart. You can see his heart pumping out of his chest, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, when he heard the guns, he goes, "All right, you guys got it. You guys." He doesn't want to get shot, bro.
Yeah.
And you don't know how you're gonna feel in that situation until you're in that situation. Well, so,
yeah, that's wild. I'm glad he's all right.
yeah, me too.
I mean,
and he probably is gonna be a rich motherfucker. He's gonna be rich.
Yeah, he's already rich, so he'll be more rich.
He'll be richer. He's gonna be richer.
Because Black Panther's a good movie. So, what was I gonna say? Yeah, Sean King. I follow Sean King for a while now. I think he's great. He's was in the middle of controversy. It seemed like it's more from like his detractors claiming that he stole donations and all this other shit and whatnot.
Right.
I don't know.
He's already
He's provided receipts and tried to debunk everything. He even did it again recently. I forgot when. I don't know. I don't know the validity of all of that. I do know that Sean King is on the right side of history almost all of the time. I see all of his posts. He's an advocate for things that most of his haters would never advocate for ever, So
Right.
he's a huge Bernie Sanders supporter. He speaks at his rallies all the time. So I mean, I like the guy. He brings out a ton of awareness for stuff like this. So I definitely recommend giving him a follow.
And of course, he already announced that he plans on fighting all the allegations against him in court, and we'll see the validity of those results as they come
you're
out.
talking about for Ryan Coogler.
Well, I was talking about for Sean King,
okay.
because for Sean
I got
King,
you.
yeah, they're saying that he raises money and then keeps the money. Obviously, there's a lot of conspiracy theories even involving him. Discrediting him is a very important thing in the right wing, of course, because of how outspoken he is against cops. And again, they don't see truth for truth. They see truth as a political hit against their ideology. And it's like, yo, bro, this happened, man. Like, this is not about Republicans and Democrats. This is American. You should support that American that went through that. You know what I mean? Regardless of you're a Republican or a Democrat. So that's why I like him. With that being said, I'm getting annoyed like a motherfucker, Denny, because I've seen a lot of gas price memes out there. And first of all, let me tell you something. They are funny sometimes, but they making me laugh. And prices and gas, yeah, they're high as fuck, bro. It is. But some of these gas price memes are talking about. I think I sent you a link of them. Some of the memes, yeah. Some of the gas price memes, they just straight up blame Biden, straight up, just directly. Thanks, Biden. Thanks a lot, Biden. People put stickers on the gas pumps. I've seen those. As I'm filling gas, I see a anti-Biden pump sticker. And what's interesting about that is, wait, hold on, my girl. Yo, sorry about that, man. What's interesting about that is it's not Biden's fault, not entirely. You know what I mean? Could Biden use an executive order and nationalize oil in America away from the privatized companies that own it, like Exxon and Chevron? These are oil companies in America that own the oil and it's privatized. So they control the pricing of the oil. Okay? We've allowed them to do that as the American government. And every president currently and before have all allowed those oil companies in America that are taking our gas and our oil and they're using it for their own private companies and they're taking all the assets for themselves. What they usually do is they export that oil to other countries to make even more money. That's something that doesn't benefit the American people at all. And then when it comes to us as the American people, what they do is they raise the prices and they blame it on inflation, or they blame it on the war in Ukraine, or the war in Iraq, or the war in Afghanistan, and that is the reason why oil is up. So I need people to who are listening to us that maybe lean right wing, you need to understand that, bro. You're only half right when you say Biden is wrong, but you have to understand that the same applies for Trump and Bush and Obama. They all done the same things. So
Yeah, the oil
I just wanted to
industry,
clear that.
the oil industry is privatized. It's fully privatized. So they control a lot. It's not far fetched to even say that they control this country. They control the wars that go on. The wars that we fight in the Middle East for oil is on their behalf. They want these wars to happen so that we can get all that oil and their resources. So as long as these oil companies are in control, this is exactly what's going to happen. This is always what's going to happen. You know what I mean? And they're aware of the risks involved in terms of the climate and climate change, what oil is doing to the earth. There's a study back in the 70s or 80s that was done by ExxonMobil that shows that they knew what fracking will do to the planet and what extracting oil and using oil and fossil fuels will do to the planet, and they chose to ignore all of it. They chose to ignore every single bit of it and just full steam ahead. So they're fully they expect the American people to be completely stupid and not care about all of this, and for the most part they're right. They're totally right.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, they publicize it just like they do with everything else. If you're a Republican, it's Biden's fault that the gases are up.
Yeah.
And that's it. If you're not a Republican, if you don't think that, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but who gives a fuck about what you think? Just do the research and understand how everything works. Stop being a fucking idiot on the internet.
Yeah, it's all
You know
about
what I mean?
owning the libs for the Republicans. That's literally the goal. Owning the libs is the goal.
I don't even want to own fucking Republicans, bro. They own themselves.
Yeah, and then that's the blame is always on the Democratic Party, which the Democratic Party deserves a ton of blame for a lot of shit that goes on. But with their non-understanding of American politics, that's what's going to happen. They're going to blame Biden. That's literally what my uncle does all the time. Just talk shit about Biden all the time, as if Biden is King Emperor of the United States. That's all he does. Just shits on Biden because he's still crying that Trump lost. And it's not just him. It's so many of them. It's so many of them that do this. Let's go, Brandon. All this other shit. They're just shitting on Joe Biden because they think that Joe Biden literally controls everything, when that's just not the case. These corporations control everything. They control the party that they cheerlead for, but that doesn't matter to them as long as they can own the libs. So,
well,
brain rot in
it's
a
just so
nutshell.
funny that you have the uncle that that has the bad Thanksgiving aura.
Luckily for me, I'm not super close with him, so no Thanksgiving.
Is this one that I met him, right? I'm sure I met him. With that being said, I have a friend who calls me randomly, trolls me, bro. He's right wing. He calls me, every other day, and we just talk bullshit, man. And I try to, tell him my perspective in a very very plain, simplistic, logical way, and he'll agree with me, and then completely go against everything that we just agreed upon in the next sentence, which is crazy, man. Because I put mad work, and you should have already evolved in the mind in the conversation.
Yeah,
but I think he's trolling me too. I don't know what he's doing to me. So it's a little frustrating, but it does entertain me while I'm fucking mopping the ground, mopping the floor.
That's I mean, people like that they're not willing to learn. They don't want to learn. They're very, very caught up in their feelings and their insecurities, and they're just projecting all of it. So they don't they don't really care about.
I know there's something going on in Florida right now that's really going off in the news. I'm not sure if the media is covering it. Maybe you know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, the media is covering it a lot.
Okay, good.
Which, that's a good thing. I'm not sure that the media is giving all of the correct information on it. I don't know. I don't watch mainstream media like that, but whatever. The don't say gay bill in Florida has passed. It's
it passed.
It's almost
Damn.
comical. This bill, it's almost, it's
What's the bill?
it's so right wing and so authoritarian that it almost seems like satire. It seems like this is just comedy. This is a SNL bit. You know what I mean?
It's the beginning of the Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah, and and it's not. It's real life, and it's gross, and it's disgusting, and this is why your vote matters, to prevent stuff like this from happening. But unfortunately, it happened. It definitely happened. So I'm going to go through a few things here in regards to the Don't Say Gay bill. We will. Let's start here. This is from More Perfect Union on Twitter. Disney gave $5 million to Florida lawmakers last year and continues to stay silent on Florida's GOP's Don't Say Gay bill and abortion ban. What's in it for them? Hundreds of millions of dollars in tax breaks. I'll play this video here in a second.
Wow.
But this is a perfect example of when large corporations like to posture as if they're in favor of LGBT things or women's rights and stuff like that, and then they go ahead and they put the pride flag on their picture on Twitter, or tweet out positive stuff supporting LGBTQ people and stuff like that, when in reality they're giving tons of donation money to the GOP, to Republicans in Florida and around the country, to get these bills passed just so they can get tax breaks. They don't care if these people pass other bills that are harmful. They don't give a shit as long as they get the profits. So let's take a look at this.
Let's check it out.
In Disney movies, the working class heroine works hard, dreams big, and goes from rags to riches. But in Orlando, thanks in part to Disney's power and corruption, it's the opposite of a Cinderella story.
How shall you deal with me, O prince, and all the powers of hell?
While working people struggle, Florida lawmakers just gave Disney a $570 million tax break. That brought the total amount of corporate subsidies Disney has received to at least $2 billion. The tax break is supposed to help create 2,000 new jobs in Florida. That's $275,000 per job. But those aren't good, high-paying jobs for local Floridians. Instead, Disney is just transferring people who work in California to an office in Orlando. That's $570 million and no real new jobs for folks that live here in Florida. And that means Disney is a net negative when it comes to job creation here over the last few years.
Wow. Wait, I can't
Sorry,
hear you
I
for
muted
some
myself.
reason. Hold on. All right, what were you saying?
That situation is exactly what was going to happen in Queens with Amazon before AOC stepped in and stopped it from happening. They were going to take billions of dollars in taxpayer money to build their new headquarters in Queens and create new jobs, when in reality, they were just going to bring people over, just like she said, bring people over from one office to another, which are high-paying executives and all these other people who are really going to make the profits there, and not working-class citizens like us who are going to get an opportunity to make decent money working for Amazon or whoever over in Queens. And, a lot of people spoke out against AOC. Why would you do that? That was going to be a big opportunity. Amazon coming into New York, blah, blah, blah. Fuck that. They were going to do exactly what this is. Just steal our taxpayer money to build their headquarters, when Amazon and their owner is the richest fucking people on earth, and they can use their own money. Anyway.
Richest man on earth. He wanted us to pay for his helipad that was going to be on the roof of that building.
Yeah.
The richest man on earth. Yeah, everything. The whole making of the building, all that shit. All of us, the people who from New York does that. For what? So you could give a couple of people from other states the jobs there?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. To save money, because you're going to give him the tax break. He's getting a free fucking building, headquarters.
And our vote prevented that from happening. That's why our vote is
Right,
important.
progressive
Our vote
vote.
prevented that.
Yeah. Yep, us bringing AOC into the mix. She at the time she was just a fresh congresswoman, and she had all the popularity at the time, and she used that popularity, and she said, "I'm against this," and people started seeing, the reasons why she was against it. Amazon didn't want it to stay in the news, so they pulled out and said they were going to make it somewhere else.
Yeah, they ended up coming
Obviously.
to New York anyway. They're in Manhattan now, and they don't. It's not a big extravagant, fucking building that they got to build. They just have offices in Manhattan, and they employ people there. And they probably did the same thing. They probably brought people over from another state and put them in there instead of hiring New Yorkers to work there. So,
Yeah, but we made him pay for his own fucking shit.
Right.
All right. We don't get no fucking hand. We see it. Rich people like that are the
Corporate
first ones to say, regular Americans need handouts.
Yeah.
Handouts. Yeah. Well, you want a fucking handout, and you're the richest man in the world. You're a piece of shit, guy. That's just logic. You're telling me you're a businessman and you're not going to invest in a building that benefits your business? Why do I have to pay for that shit, bro? I want to make my own fucking business one day.
Yep.
I don't got time to give you my money.
As Bernie Sanders says, socialism for the rich, rugged individualism for the poor. That's how it is, and that's what they want.
Right.
In September, Disney laid off 28,000 workers, mostly from its theme park division. It was understandable to cut costs during the pandemic, but the next month, the company announced another 32,000 workers who would be laid off by March of this year, right when vaccinations were ramping up too. Worse, Florida taxpayers had to pay for it. So how does a multi-billion-dollar corporation like Disney pull this off? How do they get away with so much taxpayer cash? It's not magic, it's money. Scrooge McDuck levels of money, at least for state legislators. Last year alone, Disney donated over $5 million to state lawmakers and Republican Governor Ron DeSantis, making them one of the biggest political donors in the state. Disney also shows a grand time to lawmakers by hosting their families with access to theme parks. Highly paid lobbyists fulfill wishes like the genie in Aladdin. But what are all these corporate handouts costing regular working people in Florida? Well, every time we give money away to a corporation, we're taking money away from everyday people. Corporations like Disney get what they want. In the Orlando area, we have children that are picked up for school at hotels and motels because they are homeless or precariously housed. So even our kids are experiencing the consequences of a fragile economy that's purely based on not just tourism, but exploitation of workers. There are so many Floridians, like my own family, who live near the most magical place on earth, and yet they don't even get to experience any of that magic. We could use over $500 million to completely eliminate the APD waitlist. The Agency for Persons with Disabilities has a waitlist of over 20,000 people who sometimes die on the waitlist because they never are able to access services. Yearly, the $30 million that Disney would be getting could be spent to hire 400 teachers every year. One reason why we have an affordable housing crisis is because the state of Florida has raided the Affordable Housing Trust Funds for years. And in Central Florida, where families are already living paycheck to paycheck, and now are facing eviction and are facing a lack of supply when it comes to affordable housing. Governor Ron DeSantis acts like he's a fiscal conservative, and yet he has been one of the biggest politicians to continue to consent to corporate tax breaks, including for companies like Disney. In fact, during the pandemic, Governor Ron DeSantis approved a $500 million refund that went to the state's largest corporations, including Walt Disney World. He's picking winners and losers, and he is robbing the people of Florida by giving corporate tax breaks out and robbing everyday people of the same types of benefits.
Ladies and gentlemen, the next candidate for the president of the United States in the Republican Party, Ron DeSantis.
Yeah, if Trump doesn't run, Ron DeSantis is likely going to be the Republican nominee. So you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Yeah. The saddest part about all of this is that a lot of Floridians are voting for this. They're voting against their own. They're voting and fighting hard against their own best interest. in Florida, and that's that's American propaganda working at its very, very best down in Florida.
Yeah, they don't talk about any of that in regular establishment media.
Yeah,
I
and then
mean,
this is
you
Jenk
you
from,
won't know that unless you. Oh yeah, Jake Uger.
yeah, Jenk from TYT. I love Disney movies, but look at this obvious corruption. They give politicians in Florida $5 million and get back $570 million in tax breaks. Well,
Wow.
who wouldn't do that? True. Our system allows for open bribery of our legislators, and then rob us to pay off their donors. So, in this country, we have legalized bribery for politicians, and it's just labeled as lobbying or lobbyists who work for these large corporations. They bribe politicians. Politicians are corrupt. They agree to the bribery. They take their money, and then politicians pass all of the bills and laws that these corporations want them to pass. That is corruption 101. That's how it works. That is exactly how it works, and that is exactly what people need to understand.
Right.
Any politician taking $1 of corporate money is corrupt. Anyone.
Even a fucking dollar, bro. But you know what? I am for raising the I guess the rate that they make as politicians, raising their
wages.
I think if politicians got paid a little bit more, like maybe close to maybe 400,000 or 500,000 a year. I mean, they are politicians, or maybe 400 or whatever, $300,000 a year.
No, I don't agree.
How much they get paid now? One
to two. It depends on the position that they're in. But
I think it's like 200,000, right?
Something like that. It depends on the position that they're in. However, one, that's a lot of money. Two, they're not going to stop. Even if you give them more money, they're going to want more money. They're going to keep going. Corruption is not going to stop by just paying them more. And also, we need to get paid more before they do. So they need to pay us first, raise our minimum wage first, cancel our student loan debt first, cancel our medical debt first, and then maybe they can get a raise. But they're going to get a raise anyway, because I believe that a bill just passed that gives them all a raise. So they're going to get their raise anyway, and and continue to be corrupt. So there's that.
They just gave themselves a raise, and that was crazy.
Yeah, and
this is the protest that's going on, right?
Yes, these are students in Florida protesting against the gay bill. It's great. Of course, young people are overwhelmingly progressive. And this is some of them at work. So this is great stuff. Great stuff to see from young people in Florida. I definitely like seeing that. Here is another pretty quick.
In case you missed it, Florida.
Too much time. Yeah, here's another pretty quick explanation of the "Don't Say Gay" bill by Tampa Bay Times.
Okay.
Have you recently heard about a Florida bill that critics are calling the Don't Say Gay bill, or HB 1557? There's been a lot of confusing messaging surrounding this bill and what it will and won't do. Hi, I'm Emily Mahoney, political editor at the Tampa Bay Times. You may have heard about this bill on Saturday Night Live, where comedians said that it would mean that you wouldn't even be allowed to acknowledge that gay people exist. That's not accurate. Governor Ron DeSantis has also been talking a lot about this bill lately, and he said recently that it would prevent kids in grades 3rd and younger from learning about any sexual topics at all. That's not what the bill says either. The most inflammatory framing came from the governor's press secretary, Christina Pushaw, who said it would prevent kids from getting, quote, groomed and being taught about sex. What the actual text of the bill says is classroom instruction by school personnel or third parties on sexual orientation or gender identity may not occur in kindergarten through grade 3 or in a manner that is not age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. The State Department of Education would be the ultimate authority on what is appropriate for kids. If parents are unhappy about what their kids are being taught in school, they can bring their concerns to the district or file a lawsuit. That's it. That's the entirety of the bill language related to this topic. And of course, the fact that it's so short and offers so few specifics does create some ambiguity. Now, Republican lawmakers have said that the bill does not prohibit student-led discussions that touch on sexual orientation or gender identity, such as if a student mentions their same-sex parents as part of an assignment on their family tree. But lessons focused on those themes in K through 3 would be prohibited, although Republican lawmakers have acknowledged that those lessons already are not being taught, and they've said that it's mostly preventative. But to better understand what this bill means, let's put it in context. This bill is part of a nationwide push by Republican legislatures around the country passing bills that target LGBTQ youth. States like Florida have banned trans women and girls from participating in scholastic sports. States are restricting students' access to books with LGBTQ themes, and Texas is punishing parents that get their kids gender-affirming care. When Republicans gathered at CPAC a couple weeks ago, they talked about how teaching kids about transgender issues sows, quote, gender confusion and undermines traditional family values. Republicans also want to create greater parental involvement in their kids' education. Opponents of the bill, including queer high schoolers who protested around the state, said its intent is to marginalize them and make them feel like just by existing as an LGBTQ person, they are causing controversy. But when it comes to legislative intent, people will often turn to the bill's sponsor. Senate sponsor Dennis Baxley said shortly before the bill passed that he's concerned about the growing number of students coming out as gay and trans, and claimed that school lessons may be to blame. His exact quote was, "My question is simply, are we encouraging this or illuminating it by putting emphasis on it?" For more news and in-depth coverage of this bill, you can find all of our coverage on tampabay.com.
Yeah. So one thing to take away from that,
in case you missed it,
before I start this one, is whenever bills are so as vague as that one and ambiguous as that one, that's when things can start to get really messy and violent as well. You know what I mean? Because that allows people to take it into their own hands and translate the bill themselves. You know what I mean? And really start to attack the LGBTQ community simply because they heard about this bill that was passed. They love it. That's what they wanted. And they're going to, essentially, they're going to have free reign to do whatever it is they want when it comes to gay students and gay kids in school, or LGBTQ, I should say, kids in school. So that it's an incredibly dangerous bill. It's one of the most disgusting bills that I've ever seen passed anywhere to limit someone's identity and you know, just taking an entire community and demonizing the shit out of them for just existing. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's really insane. We're gonna,
in case you missed it, Florida.
One more look at the bill being explained here by Folks Health.
All right, let's check this
This
guy.
controversial and dangerous Don't Say Gay bill has just passed the House. Here's a quick explanation of what this means, why it's bad, and what you can do to help. Republican sponsors behind the bill say that it aims to have schools teach gender and sexuality at an appropriate age and to keep parents informed about what's going on in the classroom. This is extreme legislation, and the issue here is obvious. Florida state legislators are sticking to their principles, saying that LGBTQ students are not welcome in their schools. Queer and trans youth already face a higher rate of bullying, depression, and are a higher risk of suicide than their straight, cisgender peers. This bill is far from protecting students and would only isolate and further alienate LGBTQ youth, and potentially out them to unsupportive parents and guardians. Banning speech about sexual orientation and gender identity is an infringement on civil rights. It would also erase entire chapters of history, classic literature, and critical health information from textbooks. And most importantly, this would be erasing LGBTQ students themselves. For more information and resources, look into organizations like GLSEN and the Trevor Project. In case you missed it.
Okay, so that's that. Once again, just explaining more about why this is awful, and anybody and everybody who cares should say something. You know, whether it's saying something online or saying something to somebody else. You know, it's important that this gets dealt with and goes away, because
I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's designed to kind of have it's kind of like the bowler rolling down the hill, right? It's only going to get worse. Right now, it's what, for three? Is it 3-year-old and younger? 3 years and younger.
Kindergarten to third grade.
Kindergarten to third grade. I mean, kindergarten to third grade now. What about in the future? You understand?
Of
like,
course.
I mean, that's what we gotta like kind of think about when we think about stuff like this.
Yeah, and
so
right, and what I was saying before is that how many people, how many of these Florida Republicans who don't, look into shit and just believe whatever they want to believe are gonna know that it's kindergarten to third grade? You know what I mean? A lot of them are not gonna know that, and they're gonna take action themselves, and they're gonna hurt people themselves. You know what I mean? And this is it's awful. It's awful that they're putting actual lives in danger by passing this bill, because
these are the bills that they're passing while they steal money from our tax breaks. I mean, from our taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's
this is the kind of shit he's pulling off.
Florida is quickly turning into the most rotten place in this country, easily.
You're 0 for 2, DeSantis. You're 0 for 2.
Yeah, and Ron DeSantis, he's one of the
His
worst.
hands are in both cookie jars right now.
Yeah, he's one of the worst of the worst. He's going right now. He is going hard to be acknowledged as a legitimate contender for president in the next election.
Yeah. Like when he yelled at those kids.
Yeah, he yelled at kids for wearing masks. Like some
He yelled at these kids for wearing masks.
He's not a tough guy. He's nobody. He's weak.
There's
He's
nothing
insecure.
tough about that, bro. We should pull that shit out, bro. We should pull that video of him doing this. This is the guy who's robbing you. This is the guy who's putting out disgusting bills like the Don't Say Gay bill. And now yelling at children, apparently. Mr. Tough Guy.
Yeah, and speaking of awful bills, this bill has not passed, but it was introduced. A new Missouri bill will prohibit women from leaving the state to get an abortion. If this style of legislation is somehow found legal, it will have a huge impact in a post-Roe v. Wade world. Here, another comment online. So women
never pass.
with an ectopic pregnancy have two choices: death or jail. Great, wonderful for women. And just another post. Missouri lawmaker wants residents who leave state for abortions to be sued. Abortion rights advocates say the proposal is unconstitutional. Of course it is.
With those successful abortion bills that they passed in Texas, this is how they're slowly going to start introducing bills, because when they get success here, what about here or what about there? And this is just going to get worse and worse for women. And eventually we all have mothers, sisters, daughters. I mean, we don't want their lives to be harder than it is for us ever. We want it to be equal. But what were you saying? I'm sorry for cutting you off.
No, I mean, Republicans are taking a really, really big fascist turn in this country, and that needs to be acknowledged. It needs to be acknowledged by everyone. We can't just look at this and be like, "Oh man, that's crazy, that's terrible," and then forget about it the next day. That can't happen. That just can't happen, or else their fascist right-wing movement is going to continue to grow as it has been in the last 5 years.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yes, younger people are progressive, and a lot of people are becoming more progressive, but they're growing at a substantial rate as well. And the more we don't vote, especially as progressives, the more stuff like this they're going to get away with.
Right.
So we really need
Gotta
to
wake up. These are the people that we're putting in. We're putting in these people that are making these laws.
Right. Exactly.
Now's your chance.
We want to talk about other authoritarian countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia and all of them. These people are right in line with them. They support them. Saudi Arabia is a huge fascist regime. They straight up will murder LGBTQ individuals or even women for anything.
Yeah,
for
women are
disobeying
oppressed
them
like
for
crazy
anything.
in Saudi Arabia.
And we're their allies. That
And Putin is anti-gay. Hella
Of
anti-gay.
course.
He's known to be anti-gay.
Of course, then this is why Republicans love them. Republicans love Putin. They love Saudi Arabia for these things because they want that. They want to be them. The Republicans literally share the exact same ideologies as ISIS, as Al Qaeda. They're not much different from each other. They're evangelical, fundamentalist religious individuals who want to restrict the rights of humans, of normal human beings. And that it obviously needs to be stopped, and it needs to be acknowledged by everyone. So, awareness when it comes to these issues is really, really, really important.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, I think that's it. I think we're gonna wrap it up. This was a good episode. I think this was our best episode, if I say so
Like it?
myself.
I don't know. I was kind of feeling it too. So you know what? I was getting so confident. I broke my promise and I lit up a fucking doobie because I said, I think we're doing great.
Yeah, I agree. You treat yourself.
Yeah, a little bit of a treat. I know my girl just cooked me some pasta.
Nice.
I'm gonna destroy that.
Nice.
Yeah, man. So I think next episode, I think we should as I know I mentioned this to you in the past, I want to kind of ask people on Facebook if they have any politic questions, questions involving politics. They could just post it up on the post, and we'll try to answer those on episode 7. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll put your put it. You should also obviously put it on your Twitter as
Absolutely.
well. So we'll link those right above us. We'll have our social media information, so you can go follow us, follow me, follow Eric. If you have any questions, shoot them our way. We'll do our best to answer them. And if we can't answer them, we'll tell you straight up that we can't fucking answer them. All right, so don't judge.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be no fucking. I'm not researching on the spot, bro. I don't know it. I don't know it. So
we'll
give you our opinions.
Go do that. Show some love. If you guys have enjoyed us so far, please spread the word. We're at 14 subscribers right now, which is close to nothing. So we're spread the word. Let's get some
Listen, man, we
subscribers,
changed
some
one
followers.
mind.
What was that?
I'm just happy to change one mind. You know what I mean? It's gonna get up there. Don't worry, it'll get up there.
Yeah, let's get some views. Like, subscribe, share, comment. Let us know. Just comment below. Comment anything you want below. Anything. Comment on Eric's facial hair. You can comment on my hat. You can comment on Eric's very white room that he's in. You can comment on anything you want.
That's it.
All right, let's wrap it up. Check us out on Twitch. We'll put the links below. Check us out on social media. We'll put the links below, and we'll see you next week.
Peace out. Have a good night, guys. This way. My bad.